Hey everyone, this is Eddie.
And this is Tom.
And we just wanted to thank you so much for listening to the Seasons podcast for the past couple months. The episode you're about to listen is the last episode for the year of 2019. And for 2020, we're stepping into a new phase, a new journey, new guests, new topics, new content. So we're super excited about it. And to close out the year of 2019, we wanted to do a charity ad to raise awareness and help those communities in need. So while every shelter pet is unique, some love a good game of fetch, others would rather snuggle together on the couch. However, there's one thing that they all have in common. They're all pure love. Right now, millions of pets in shelters and rescues across the country are waiting to be adopted.
Did you know that only 44% of dogs and 47% of cats in American homes come from animal shelters and rescue groups? The unique qualities of every shelter pet add up to an incredible bond between every shelter pet and parent.
If you're thinking about getting a pet this holiday season, make sure to visit the shelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, Matters Fund, and the Humane Society of the United States. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for this amazing year. In this last episode, we had a great chat with Mark about the law of attraction, how to attract positivity into your life, and we are sending all those positive vibes to you. We, the Seasons Podcast, will be taking a break for the holidays, and we will be back in the second week of January. So hang tight.
Put it on your calendar.
And we will see you soon.
Peace.
Hey everyone, this is Eddie.
And this is Tom.
And this is the Seasons Podcast.
Podcast.
Welcome to another episode. Today we have a very special guest, Marco Chak from Macau, China. And today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is about the law of attraction. It's a topic that some might know about it, some might have never heard about it, but we're very excited to learn more with Marco. He'll take us into this spiritual journey, and we're very excited about it. So yeah, let's get into it. So hi Marco, very excited to have you here, my friend.
Hey, what's good, Eddie? Happy to be here, man. Super appreciative of the opportunity.
Thank you for coming in. Very excited about today's episode. We've been planning it for like weeks already, and very excited to see what juicy information we can squeeze out of this episode, you know? A little bit about Marco's background. Me and Tom, actually, we met him in our sophomore year 3 years ago at the college dorms. Marco was actually the one that introduced me more about entrepreneurship, marketing, psychology, a lot of these topics that I came to love at this point in my life. And Marco is such an inspirational figure. He started his first business in high school. It was a little food stand, right? Or a food cart, if I'm not wrong.
The first one was the clothing line, M&M, and then the second one was the food cart.
So Marco has his own clothing line, then the food cart, and right now he is running another company called Divicati. Divicati is a company with the mission to create a more loving and conscious world. And they offer more personal growth coaching services to help people tap into their innate source of wisdom to guide them through their lives, problems, and goals. So Marco loves this topic of personal development. He introduced me to this topic years ago. We sat down and we have a lot of fun talking about these topics. So has a huge entrepreneurial mindset. I don't know what praise we can give to Marco. But yeah, very excited for you to be our guest today. Why don't you talk a little bit more about the law of attraction?
Sure. Yeah, before I even go there, I just want to, again, say I'm super appreciative of the opportunity just being on this podcast. I remember I was listening to the first episode on the plane. I'm like, yo, Eddie, this is dope, man, because you told me about it. And, it's like the idea which transition into the perfect way into law of attraction is that, everything starts with an idea. We live in a thought world, right? And I know you have a good analogy that you can bring up in a bit, but it starts with a seed. And for me, I learned about law of attraction actually also in my first year of business school from a mutual friend of ours, Diego. And Diego was like talking about how there are laws in this world where it's just irrefutable, right? And he was talking about how energy can't be created or destroyed. And he was also talking about how there's something called the law of attraction. So I'm like, law of attraction, that sounds so interesting. It's like, is it about like seducing women or whatnot? Like that just sounds like, something I was very curious about. So I was like, okay, let me just go on YouTube and type it in. And I watched the video, and it was talking about how your mind is so powerful, and how where your focus go, your energy flows, and what you think of, you'll attract more of into your life. And that sounds very obvious, right? But it's not that when you're aware and you're conscious about doing this, then you're like, oh my goodness, yeah, no wonder I have so many like negative friends, because I'm thinking negatively, I'm being negatively. When I'm in that state, then I attract whatever is also in that state. So knowing this concept, I was like, it gave me so much empowerment, and throughout the years also, from the mindset part to actually applying the information, and also like gathering different concepts on the spiritual side as well, and also from books and documentaries. And every time when you revisit this law, it just gets a little bit deeper, and there's ways that you can apply it, and really allows everyone to create and manifest more easily in this world. And so yeah, I think in terms of personal development, this is one good concept to kind of just like learn right off the bat.
So how would you describe the law of attraction for someone that has never heard about it? I know that Tom is not very familiar with this topic, and I think that it would be very cool to introduce like this concept to him.
Right. How about let's make this like a conversation as well? Like, what do
Yes.
you like? What do you know about law of attraction that you would feel would be good for people to know that are starting?
So for me, the law of attraction is that when what you are thinking, you attract more of it. So you either think about more positive stuff and you attract more of it, or you think about negative stuff and you attract more of it. From my experience, it's like if I'm in a very bad mood, I woke up late, I didn't do whatever my morning routine is supposed to be, hit the gym, do this and that, I will be in a very bad mood. And then someone just texts me about some bad news about a project or something, and then more of that comes, and throughout the day I'm just pissed at everybody, I'm mad, I'm in the constant state of looking at things negatively, like I'm lacking this, I need this, I'm not gonna be happy in this state because this is with me right now, how do I get rid of this? And I think that throughout the day, the more I think about it, the more negative stuff I attract. So that's how I kind of experience the law of attraction. That's how I understand it. Just your mind being a magnet to whatever you're thinking, either it's positive, negative, good or bad, it just comes to you. That's how I think about it.
Got you. And to add on a little bit to that, when you're like, okay, where should we start when we talk about law of attraction? Actually, we have to talk about the law of vibration, which is everything in this world is vibrating, and even every solid item you see is vibrating at a different frequency, at its own frequency. So if everything is vibration, like how people say, oh, I don't like his vibe, like people say, we have our own vibe, we have our own vibration. And so when we are in a certain vibe, we are able to attract things that are around the same vibration. It starts with the mind, but it also ties a lot into the emotional part, because every emotion, as you probably know, it has its own frequency and its own vibration. If you're in like low vibrational states, which is if you're thinking negatively, what those thoughts would accumulate into is emotional states. And what emotional state you're in would create the action. So it's like thoughts, emotional state, action. And if the input of your thought is like low vibe, right? If you're thinking like fear, anger, guilt, then if you're thinking those thoughts, obviously those thoughts has its frequency, because those thoughts has energy. It would drag you down physically. And then if you're in that physical state, you would probably like do something that is not as congruent to your virtues and things like that, if that makes sense. So before, when I first realized, it's like we just have the power to dictate how we think and what we think. We always have the power to plant what seed we want to plant in our mind. And if we want like a big goal, for example, we want to like go to the space or something like that, right? It sounds crazy, like it sounds impossible, right? But if we are able to plant that seed in our mind, and we're able to, with also law of action, right? People always forget the law of action, to take it step by step so that we could pull that reality closer into this state, into this reality. I know I'm jumping all around because I was just doing the notes, but I'm sure as we talk, we can uncover the pieces so it makes more sense to the listeners.
Yes, of course. And I love the fact that you mentioned about planting a seed in your mind, because this is something that we talked about 3 years ago. I remember one night in the gym where I was just showing you this video that I saw on YouTube, and it explained the law of attraction so perfectly. The analogy goes like this. So our thoughts are seeds, our brains is the soil, our actions is the water, and our feelings is the sunlight. Oh, and the last thing, the fruit is the outcome, right? So with this analogy, it actually blew my mind at that moment. When we think about all the thoughts that we have throughout the day, thousands and thousands of thoughts, what are the thoughts that we plant in our mind unless we put actions, aka watering it, unless we put positive feelings about it, positive emotions, optimism, aka sunlight, it won't be able to sprout. That seed will stay forever there. It will never grow unless you add all this stuff together in order for this plant to grow and for this plant to actually result in a fruit, whatever your thoughts are. And following this analogy, we can go deeper and deeper, Our thoughts, it doesn't matter if it's like good thoughts or bad thoughts. Those are seeds that will be planted in our brain. So it will depend on you, on either you are planting more positive thoughts or more negative thoughts in your mind, In your mind, your brain is such a fertile soil that it can also, when you plant a certain crop, it will also grow weeds in there. Those weeds are nothing, are bad, are negative. Those will grow. And it depends on us if we want to leave those weeds there or make more weeds in our brain or take them out, And the last thing that I wanted to mention with that analogy is that our brain, since it's the soil for all our thoughts, we also have to be constantly nurturing it, learning more.
Make it more fertile.
Yeah. Otherwise, the seeds won't grow,
Yeah.
How can I put myself a goal that I want to become a millionaire, or I want to become a very wise man or a teacher, if I'm not constantly nurturing my brain in order to get there? If I want to become a millionaire, then okay, I need to learn how to start a business. How does a business model work, etc., etc. Those are actions that are making my brain, nurturing my brain, in order for someday the right thought, the right seed will be planted in my brain, and that seed will grow easily and fast.
Right. And in this analogy, like, I still remember when you told me I was doing that quad machine, and it was like, Marco, watch this video. I was like, okay, what's this? And I'm like, oh, it's about law of attraction. Obviously I'll watch it. I'm like, yo, Eddie, this is so dope, man. And it stuck with me for a long time. So I definitely remember that profound moment. And in this analogy, right, as you were speaking, we are the gardener. So we have to take care of our garden. And it's also very important to understand what seed you're planting and if the outcome is what you really want. Let's say you want to start a business, right? Going back to the analogy. If that's not what you truly want, if you don't have that deep burning desire of having that outcome, having that fruit, then you're not going to water it. You're not going to give it sunshine. You're not going to take the weeds out when the weeds do come. In terms of just focusing, just focus on planting a couple of seeds. Before, I used to plant a lot of seeds and just hope they will sprout. But no, they need care, especially when it's a seed turning a sapling and then into a big tree, right? So in the early stage, before, I used to pursue a lot of different projects, but right now I'm starting my main business, right? And I found my main passion, my main purpose, and even though I found it still takes tremendous of energy to turn it from just an idea, from a thought which is intangible, into something that is tangible. Just the process of creating that takes a long time. So speaking from experience, I think it's just really know what seed or what fruit you want to eat and do a good job. And I love that you're taking always making it more fat, more fertile. It might not grow at all, but it has a better chance of growing. At least that's a little bit of an add-on to what you said.
I think that the easy part is to plant the seed. The easy part is to have the seed, you know. We have thousands of thoughts every day, but the hardest part is always trying to, how can I make this seed grow? The watering, your actions, your emotions. Running a business in general, it's such a tough process. You've told me a little bit about your business journey, and it's a lot of like ups and downs, and it's very hard to keep that sunlight up.
As you mentioned, like we have thousands of thoughts every day, right? And I think it's very important for people to also realize that we're not the thoughts. We are the observer of our thoughts. And it's important to understand which thoughts we should allow and which thought we should reject. Because people think, oh, I'm my thoughts. Like if I think of something, let's say if I think like I don't like Eddie, like, oh, that's me. Because our brain are actually like constantly receiving and setting out thoughts. We can receive and setting out thoughts. So sometimes the thoughts are not even ours. But who we really are is that present, is that awareness to be able to choose which thought we want to accept and which one we want to reject. So it's very important because we all have that inner critical voice, right? Like for me, I had this big problem in my life where I have doubt, I have fear, anxiety of wanting to do something, whether that's like asking a girl out or like starting this business or following my passion, right? We all have that thing that holds us back from taking action, right? We all know the practical steps, but how do you conquer that inner voice sometimes? For me, I thought like I need to silence it, but I can let it talk. That's my technique. I let it talk, but I just don't listen to it. I don't allow that to dictate my actions. I tune into my more brave, more loving side. It's like that devil and the angel kind of thing happening, right? Which one do you listen to? Are you the devil or are you the angel? You're neither. You are the person which voice you choose to tune into. That's what I've realized that helps me to take more action and be more in that state. And what I've learned as I dug deeper into law of attraction is also like just live in elevated emotions. I know you watched the video where I talked about receiving miracles from the universe. And in the book that I read called Becoming Supernatural, it talked about living as if you already received what you got. So let's say if you want to start that business, like live as if like you're already abundant. Like live as if your business is already successful. And we can do that because we always have the influence over how we think. Like almost the last freedom that we have is our perspective and how we think, right? This was talked in the book, The Man's Search for Meaning, how this guy was in a Nazi camp and the Nazis can do everything to this person, but at the end of the day, he can choose how he responds to the outer stimulus. So we can always dictate the inner state of our mind, and that's something that takes control, that takes practice. But once we're able to do that, we can live in the elevated emotion, which brings up to a higher vibrational state and pulls that reality closer into our reality. Yeah, so those I flowed a little bit there, so if that makes sense.
I mean, observer of our thoughts. I feel like you made a very good point there because I think through our previous conversations, we also kind of talk about like what kind of thoughts we choose to listen, you know. I suffer from stress, anxiety, a lot of this and that is going on in my life. But you told me that don't let these thoughts dominate your day-to-day. Instead, you choose what thoughts to listen. And I'm a very prideful person. And when I think about a thought dominating me, oh, what was that?
Some fireworks went off, man. It's China.
Oh, jeez. No worries.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, when I think...
I'll turn off. Sorry. I'll close the window. All right, there we go.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so as I was saying, like, when I think about the fact that my thoughts are dominating me, I don't like it. You know, am I a slave of my thoughts? I don't want to be a slave of my thoughts. I want to be a master of my thoughts. And I want to choose to live a more positive life instead of having that little devil telling me always like, hey, you have debt to pay. You have bills to pay. You have this and that going on. Instead, I choose to be in that state, as you said, of thinking that I'm already wealthy. I'm already there. You know, I already got my business. And I think that that brings a lot of like positive emotions in me, and I've been able to eradicate all that stress or all that anxiety. I've been having a way better time with myself. And the one question that actually comes to mind when you mention about being in that state, you know, if I, let's say a very realistic scenario, if I have bills and debt to pay, how can I be in that state of like feeling wealthy if I am not?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So in that state, it's more like having the faith that the money would come to pay the bills, and feeling like not being driven by fear, but being driven by, oh, once I pay this bill, how would that feel like? And choose to be in that emotion, live in that emotion instead of like worrying. And because worry, fear, doubt, anger, all these are low vibrational emotions, right? And so if you live there, yes, that can motivate you, but it's not a very empowering state to live in. That always almost sometimes leads to inaction. Like if you're afraid, you're scared, you're doubtful, sometimes like you won't even do anything about it. You choose to avoid it because when you think about that bill, right, you want to disengage. But if you think about that bill and you think about like you know, in the previous podcast, you talk about the positive motivators, right? If you think about that bill and it's like, oh yeah, how would it feel like when I pay off that bill? Oh, I feel secure. I feel accomplished. Okay, now that bill equals security and accomplishment, and it motivates you to make that a reality. And so that's just a little mindset shift that we're all able to use.
Right. I do have a question. This mindset of being thinking that you're in the positive area, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some limit to like how far you can think positively, because you have to be mindful, like even though you want to think and be positive, think that you have paid your debt. Right now, you still have not paid your debt, and so for example, you cannot spend as much, even though you think that you're out of debt. So like, is there a border that you shouldn't cross?
In terms of thinking positively?
In terms of like thinking positively and imagining that you are in the better situation, like you've paid off your debt, for example.
Right. So there's a distinction, right? It's like you think abundantly, but it shouldn't encourage you to spend lavishly and like squander all your money just because, oh, I'm so abundant, I can spend all your money, right? That's not what I'm trying to advocate. I'm trying to advocate, it's like, yeah, even though you have your debt that you need to pay, don't let fear drive you. Like let the higher emotions drive you, because that would be more positive, and actually that will allow you to take more action, and that will actually allow you to pay off that debt even quicker, because you feel more empowered rather than something that's like pulling you back. Rather than seeing yourself as a victim, you see this as an opportunity to learn how to make more money, right? It's just like that little shift, if that makes sense, right? Another thing is like you can visualize like how would I make this money, plan, right? It's sometimes when people think about like law of attraction, they think like, oh, okay, like let me just think about and visualize and things will happen for me. For sure, like maybe the universe would give you certain opportunities that you wouldn't receive if you hadn't asked. But at the end of the day, right, the law of action makes the law of attraction work, because nothing moves until you do. So you need, like, law of action is putting that fuel into what you kind of like asked for. So like definitely visualization helps, and just again like letting the high vibe emotions drive you, high vibe thoughts drive you, so you be in a high vibe state, so you attract high vibe people, you attract high vibe opportunities, you make high vibe money. So it's like, you know, it's just that snowball effect into this upward direction. Like you can be an upward spiral, or you can like go in a downward spiral. And what dictates whether it goes up and down always starts with our thought and our brain, and what we choose to allow into the garden, allow into the soil, and what to water and things like that.
I feel like one very important point is that you shouldn't be worried too much about debt, because that will kind of like attract more of that negative thoughts, and what you think is what you attract, right? According to a law of attraction. So if you attract more debt, like me, let's say if I'm in a state of debt, I would, like Marco said, would be in a state of avoiding something. I won't do anything about it. But if I switch my mindset of being like, hey, I'm able to pay my debt, I will pay my debt. So I will find ways to do it. I'd rather find a second job, increase my income source, or just increase my income in general. I think that way it's a more, again, going back to one of our previous episode of, this is a more positive motivator that will drive us to get to that goal, instead of being inactive, not doing anything about it, being negative about it. I think that's what the point that you were trying to make, right?
Yeah, and something that just came to mind as well. There's a lot of power in words, and this is something that I have been working with my coach on personally, like especially with my inner dialogue with myself. Like, for example, when I'm running my business, like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so overwhelmed, and it's subconscious. I don't even know I'm using these words, yet I know the theory of, like, you know what, words hold very powerful, like it influence you a lot. So just saying the word debt makes you feel like you're poor. So you can like reframe it a little bit, like, I have X amount of money to pay off, or, you know, I'm trying to say, like, you can even like reframe debt in a more empowering way, so that you feel more empowered. Your mind don't associate debt as some, like a big ball dragging you down, but something that could give you an opportunity to learn how to like make more money or be more financially astute. Yeah, this is an opportunity.
Yes.
Like, how can I avoid being X, like, don't say debt, but like another way to describe the situation you're in. And yeah, just the reframe and shifting, and that makes a difference as well. Just a little like mindset there.
Something that came to mind is that having a more positive motivator, let's say that you meet a potential business partner, right? But you have this negative mindset that, hey, I'm broke, I can't join this business project, I can't do it, I have debt to pay. Or you're just, even if you join in, you're just in a negative state. Do you think that the business partner would want to work with you? I don't think so.
No,
but instead, if you
not.
switch your mindset and be a bit more positive and be like, hey, yeah, let's do this, you can probably make $1 million out of this project. Who knows?
You could, yeah.
And I think that's what is very impactful for me in the law of attraction. It's not just attracting thoughts, but also attracting other people. When you feel when you are more happy, when you're more energetic, you usually contage that feeling to the people surrounding you, right? It's like, hey, Marco, you're so energetic. Oh my God, let's hang out or something, you know?
Right.
You just contage that vibe. When you, again, as you said, like, oh yeah, this person has a very good vibe. You want to hang out with him, or you want to do business with him. Who knows?
Right.
Those are unlimited opportunities when you just tune into that positive feeling.
100%. And there's a quote that says, successful people are not happy. Happy people are successful.
Oh my God.
So it's like, if you are happy, you generally have a increased opportunity and rate to become successful because of what you just said, right? But we live in a society, sometimes we're like, oh, I need X, Y, Z, then be happy.
I need a car. I need a big house. I
Right.
need better clothes.
Or sometimes it's just like that. I need recognition. I need attention. I need, you know, sometimes it could be also internal, like external achievements to allow you to feel that internal emotions. But I'm like, yo, like that's kind of stupid, because at the end of the day, I'm the one who's producing my emotions. Like, I used to feel like I need to have like a girlfriend in order to feel like loved or validated or feel like I'm wanted. But no, like that love, it can produce from my own self. Like, it's self-love, baby. And if you don't even love yourself, right, how can other people love you? But okay, we're kind of switching the topic.
Yes.
But going back to the law of attraction, right, it's 100% what you say. Like, when you're in that high vibe state, you attract high vibe people. Yeah, that's really good, man.
So, actually, I have a question. I think previously in one of your episodes, oh, by the way, Marco makes great YouTube videos. If you guys want to check it out, go divicati.com, YouTube. Divicati. We'll include it in the description. But yeah, one of your videos, you were talking about that you watched The Secret, one of the documentaries that started your spiritual journey. Interestingly enough, when I was playing Fortnite with one of my pals from high school, I just mentioned I was going to do an episode about the law of attraction. I think that's very interesting. We never talk about this type of stuff. and he suddenly came up with, hey, this is a very good documentary you should watch if you are into or want to get more into the law of attraction. And he recommended the same documentary. So he did that first, and then I saw your video and I thought, damn, this is destiny, I need to watch it. So I watched it. There are some points that are very good points that were made there, and the message is generally good, but it also attracted a lot of criticism. And we can talk a little bit about those people that are doubting about this. Like, and I completely understand that, coming from a point that I can't say that I'm 100% believer of the law of attraction. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle or somewhere there. I implement it sometimes, but not all the time, because it's hard for me to understand all the concepts, all these kind of like having faith in something that will happen. How the documentary described it is that the universe is made out of energy. We are energy, you know, our cells breaks down into atoms, and atoms itself is just energy. And energy, like the law of physics say, I believe, energy doesn't get destroyed. It gets transformed into something else. When it describes about our thoughts, let's say I want to be rich, the universe will respond, will transfer that energy and convert it into, let's say, money in this example, and will manifest it. How does that work? It just kind of like blows my mind on that mechanic, just having faith that the universe will send me something. If I want money, it will send me money. If I want like a big house, it will send me that house. Well, we're being very materialistic here, but if I want a loving relationship, it will send me a good relationship, you know. How does that work, or how you understand it from your perspective?
Yeah. So when I first watched the documentary, I had the same thought. Like, I was a bit skeptical on just the whole faith part as well. But I think I watched that documentary 2 years ago. So I've gone to understand different, like I from personal development, I went into also my spiritual growth and development side of me. And as you were saying, like, one concept came to mind was the book Ask and It's Given. And also, again, going back to the book, Becoming Supernatural. And, you know, in the book, at least it says that there's infinite possibilities out there in the universe, like parallel universe and all that kind of stuff, right? And there has been theories in saying, like, when you choose a decision, the universe splits and goes to that reality a little bit more. So the universe is constantly splitting. And when we set out an intention, I don't believe it gets handed to you, because, again, other laws are also in effect, like the law of action. But I believe it gives you an opportunity to, it almost like the universe rearranges itself for you to step into the path that you asked for. And the reason why it won't happen if you don't ask is because you have free will. Like, you need to ask in order for the universe to create that opportunity for you. Let's say if you want to meet that love of your life, like, maybe you have a better chance of meeting that person if you're ready as well. Like, you know, the universe won't give you things that you're not ready for. So it's about that divine timing as well. And it's about, like, constantly upgrading yourself so you're ready for the opportunity that you asked for. It doesn't get handed to you. And maybe in the documentary, it makes it seem like it's very easy, right?
Yeah.
A little bit like you just ask and you just receive. But I believe, like, if you're more in tune of like what you truly want as well, like, it's not superficial. It's like something that's like the highest good for yourself and also maybe for the world. At least from my experience, that works the best. And a little bit of examples, like, I went to this convention, and when I went to this convention, I'm like, okay, I have the intention of meeting a mentor that also created a conference around the 1,000 audience size, applying the best practices I know from the book Ask and It's Given. And I'm also like asking for it in a very like meditative state. So I'm like coming from a sincere place. And from my flight from Doha to Lisbon, where the conference was, I sat in the middle. And I remember like also watching a documentary, a TED Talk on like how to increase your luck. And it talked about how to like, hey, you know what, take initiative and say hi to people next to you. And so, you know, I said hi to people on my left and on my right. And it so happens to be the person that's on my left was the person I want to meet in my intention session, the person that created the conference before. Like, what's the chance of that happening? You know, I don't know. Like, is it coincident or is it because I asked? Like, who knows, right? But no one knows. But at least it worked for me, and this is one incident. And even the TED Talk, like, was that a sign? Like, I never watched TED Talks on a plane. Like, I'd rather pop a movie, right? But why did I watch a TED Talk? Like, why did I was guided towards that TED Talk as well? So in terms of like spirituality and like that's where I think the faith come in and be like, yo, like at the end of the day, like the universe has your back. Like how we met, how I met you, Eddie, like how I met you, Tom, and how we're doing this right now. I feel like everything just kind of like led to this moment right now where I'm doing this. And that's like where I feel so powerful for the people that have a spiritual foundation to believe that things would happen when you're stepping into your purpose journey and you're allowing things to come to you, and you'll see signs. And I think people in the spiritual community would tell you like there's often signs from the universe saying that, you know what, Eddie, you're in the right path, and that gives you a little bit like kick of motivation, or no, you're not on the right path, and then maybe you follow your heart and you go that way.
I think one very interesting thing about you is that I believe like in sophomore year you mentioned to me that you were mostly atheist. You were very interested in people that were into religions. I am a believer myself. I'm not into any religion, but I believe there's like a God out there. I don't have a name for him or something, but I just know that there's something up there watching me, something like that.
Yeah.
But coming from your point of view is that since you were an atheist and you were so curious about religions and everything, how did you take the first step into your spiritual journey, into believing all this, into having faith? I think that's a very good perspective on how people that doesn't believe about the law of attraction, how can they step into it?
Yeah. I'd love to share that journey as well. And before I maybe go fully into like the spiritual path, like what really helped me is also like from the personal development standpoint. And because I was reading the book Think and Grow Rich, which also talks a lot about universal consciousness and also concept that I didn't know, like infinite intelligence. Like they say actually more advanced part of law of attraction is being able to connect yourself to this infinite intelligent, maybe source, maybe the unifying field. And because our brains are able to receive downloads like information, and we send information, when you're able to tune into that unifying field, infinite intelligence, we're able to get better ideas or inspiration for our concepts. So I'm like, yo, this is cool. And in the book Think and Grow, she talks about like people that are more in tune with themselves and that meditates and that practice this have a higher chance of tuning into the infinite intelligence. And people like Einstein, Tesla, and all these like really famous and successful people have done it. So I'm like, my innate curiosity just drive me to like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, I never got taught this. So little by bit, from meditation, from psychedelic experiences, which is like, I feel one of the good way for people, at least for me personally, to be super more self-aware, to know that I'm not just the ego, that there's more to who I really am. And then what really helped was also going to India and learning about like chakras, yoga, the mind-body connection, and understanding my emotions. Like, why am I so unhappy? Oh, because there's so many like traumas that hasn't been released within you. And that like helped me a lot. So I always felt guided by the universe to like go deeply into this kind of space. And I think one of the thing that really kickstarted it was I read the book The Angel of Abundance, which my coach at that time sent me. And they had like this thing where you have to recite and kind of like pray and say, hey, you know, like Archangel Michael, I'm ready for you to receive guidance and give me signs and things like that. And kid you not, I start seeing like little feathers pop here and there. And other people, not only me, have seen feathers. A lot of people have seen feathers. And these feathers don't like happen every day. It comes at a very like specific synchronistic moment. For example, like if I done something good, I still remember like I was hesitant of whether I should go to this business conference that I had to like pay a little bit of money for. Like I was very uncomfortable paying this amount of money for this conference. And then I believe when I finished that conference and I was walking back to my hostel, I saw a feather. And like, for me, that just gave me a sound like, yeah, you made the right choice. You're stepping into the right path. And sometimes like when I up, like I messed up, right? I got scammed one time because I was not in the right state of mind. And like after I got scammed, like I saw a feather, like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like these like very weird moments. So I can't explain what it is, right? But that makes me kind of like learn more about what spirituality is and the different school of thoughts that's out there, and just start digging into this rabbit hole and uncovering more.
And one thing that you mentioned about that the universe always rewards you when you do good, when you did something good. Do you think that the law of attraction also work for like people that are having bad intentions, negative thoughts? Like, I wish bad on this person. I want this XYZ bad thing happen to this person, do you think that the universe will rearrange itself for this to happen?
That's a good question. I never like actually went there because like I'm like it's not something that I want to do, but I
Yes.
do believe like there might be forces, like maybe there, if there's a god, there must be a devil, right? People are able to use like I know like some weird like witchcraft stuff that people do, like a symbol to wish bad luck on other people and things like that. But I think it works. I think it could be a possible thing, and that's why people say there's like psychic attacks, and like you got to be protective of your energy. You can't let like other people come into your circle of influence that easily. And definitely I think there's that. But at the end of the day, if you're wishing bad on other people, like you're just wishing bad on yourself, because
You're
we're
also
all
attracting
just
that thought.
That's
Yeah,
toxic
we're just
mindset
all-
too.
yeah, that, and also like on a more spiritual high level, like we're all one, like we're all connected. And if we as a human race are able to advance and be more happy, but more like loving, like we're able to experience that state more easily, because we are very influenced by our environment. And right now, like our environment's not at a very like high vibrational state, like in general, right? Like in the media, all you see is negative things, and that's what the media wants you to consume. So it's also very important, like you eat high vibe foods, you read high vibe, you listen to high vibe music, like 432 hertz music, you meditate to increase your vibrational state. So you're able to like, again, be in a high vibrational state and receive high vibrational ideas, informations. Like when I meditate, like seriously, bro, like I sometimes just, I don't need to think and things come to me, and it might be my subconscious brain like rearranging itself so that I get like a little insight. Or it could be like I'm more tuned into the infinite intelligent, where Napoleon Hill talks about in the Think and Grow Rich, that something comes to me, right? So I think it's also very important to just experience it. Like it, for a long time, I like know about law of attraction, but I don't apply it consciously. And I think it just try applying it consciously and then have your own experience and things will happen. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this. Wanted to go on like, what if something were to happen to you? Like, does the law of attraction give any explanation for any traumatic or emotional events that had befallen upon you?
Like just certain bad things, like you get into a car accident, like did you attract it type stuff?
Yeah, you get into a car accident, someone hit you, something like that.
I don't know about that, but I think everything happens for a reason, and like it's up to you how you want to perceive what happened. Yeah, I really don't know with that one. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Tom.
That's fine. Well,
You were meant to be hit by a car.
oh my god.
No, just kidding.
I mean, I in that case for traumatic events, I don't really have any proper answer to that. But in the long run, I would say I never really thought about the law of attraction and how it applies to this, because I was just introduced to the concept today. But this is just a very general advice. I'm not sure like if it's gonna apply to everyone, but it's like things happen. It just depends on the action that you take, and through that you control the outcome. Like event plus action equals outcome.
I would agree with that. Like whatever happens to you, it's up to you of how you want to control your thoughts, your situation, your feelings towards it. And you have a factor that you can control the event, right? But you have another factor that you actually can control, which is what you perceive, how you feel about this. And that's how you get the final product more towards what you want it to be, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And to add on a little bit from, I think, a spiritual like perspective, not using law of attraction, but like karma, it's like, okay, why did this bad thing happen to me? It's like, it could be like the circle of karma. Like either there's a lesson that you have to learn through this incident, or something that you perceive as bad. But is it bad, or did you just label it as bad? Like it's neutral until you label it, until you judge it, right? But it's very hard for us to like, oh, I don't have a leg, like how's that good? I used to be able to run, but like if someone like asks you to be enlisted into the army, but you don't have a leg, you don't have to go army, like it turns into a good thing again. So there's that whole analogy, like it's never good or bad, it's always neutral until you label it. But I think it's also just karma. Like when in the past, like when I did something like really bad, and then like that same thing happened to me, and I became the victim of the situation, and I realized, oh, like yeah, like I deserve this because I did something bad. So I believe like I'm here to like clear my karma. Like everyone has karma in terms of like the whole spiritual sense. Like, we're here to clear our karma so that we can evolve as a spiritual being, and then we can have a better life, XYZ, in the next life or something. Maybe there's something that you did in your past life where in this life you have to like kind of released. And I mean, that's going to spirituality a little bit. Maybe it answers Tom's question.
That works out, yeah.
So we're a little bit over time, which is absolutely fine. We can spend like the next couple minutes wrapping up everything. But yeah, some stuff that I think that to conclude everything, to wrap up everything, I think some stuff that the audience can take away is that, first, summarizing the law of attraction. For me, the law of attraction is that your thoughts create things in the physical world. That's how I perceive it to be. And I believe that the law of attraction is just based a lot on like the power of our human mind. We underestimate the power of our minds. And there are even some like scientific studies about the placebo effect, where you give patients like a sugar pill instead of like an actual medicine. And just because your mind, because of the human mind, you're able to heal in general. And I think that's something that we can really like take away from this discussion from the law of attraction. Our minds is the creator of our reality, to simplify it, to make it shorter.
Yeah, I'll also add is be the gardener. Don't be overwhelmed, because also when you say the mind, sometimes people associate that with the thought, but you're not the thought. You can think. Most people don't really think, but you can think, and you can be precise of what thoughts come into your garden. And also, don't underestimate emotions. Use emotions, tap into emotions, and that is your fuel. Because at the end of the day, like, we want to achieve XYZ in order to feel a certain emotions, right? So live that emotions already, and that could really help us be like physically in a very like higher vibrational state, and that would really help us attract the opportunities and things that seem out of our control. But like what we can control, I think it's always like our well-being, our state. That's why, like, take care of yourself before you take care of your business. Take care of yourself before you go take care of someone else's work. You know, you're working for someone, like, you know, take care of yourself first. You have to do the inner work every day. And that's why most billionaires have like good morning routines, because they know they are the most important product. And everything starts with the mind first, right? Every creation in the world starts with someone's imagination. And that's where like true source of wealth comes from. And like one of them. And so if we're able to tap into that creativity within us more often and be more aligned with the energy and the universe, like, we would have better ideas, we have better inspiration that comes through us, and it's up to us then what to do with it. And I think that's my understanding so far, and hope it has been helpful to people that's listening to this.
Yeah, one of the things that it's like very actionable with the law of attraction is that the friend that recommended me the documentary The Secret is that he's been applying it day to day, not like big stuff, like thinking of like, yeah, I wanna have $1 million by this date or something, but just very simple stuff on a day-to-day. Like when he's running late to class, he told me like he experienced that. He just visualized that he is already in class, he doesn't feel stressed. And I think that somehow the universe arranged itself so he doesn't get stuck in traffic, there's nothing bad happening in the way, and he ultimately got to class on time. So I think that's like very little stuff that we can apply, start thinking about it and applying it to our daily life, and hopefully experiencing more and more miracles, up to the point that you said, like having feathers appear here and there. I think that still like, it's out of my mind how it's that gonna happen. But
yeah,
I have faith. I believe somehow good things will come to me. I'm always confident. Oh yeah, and one thing that my friend also like constantly practices, it goes back to what you said, that the words are very strong. So he always states what he wants. He thinks out loud. He's like, I'm not gonna be late on class. I'm already in class. Say it out, speak it, tell others about it. Hey, I'm happy. You know, hey, I'm confident. I'm enjoying this moment with my friends here. And I think that's a very powerful factor that helps us apply and understand better the law of attraction.
Yeah. Do we have time to add on to that point?
Yes, please.
Okay. Affirmations is so powerful. Like, I am happy. I am loved. I am blessed. Like I have an affirmation I do, part of my morning routine, and I just write down all the emotions that I want to feel. I write it down and I recite it every morning so I can like, from a low conscious state, like I'm sleeping, I'm like, I don't want to like work. And then like, I remember, oh, there's this side of me that wants these things, that see myself as this person. So it's like a little like reminder with using an affirmation. And recently also I was working with my coach and I was like, man, I don't know if I love doing my business. Sometimes I just, have those negative emotions, right?
Yes.
And he was like, okay, tell me what you want to love. And so I'm like, okay, this is hard. Okay, so I love coaching people. I love doing podcasts. I love public speaking. And as I'm saying it, I've just felt like, I actually love doing this, because I don't tap into my heart. I don't tap into the emotions within me often enough to realize what I love and what I don't love. So focus on what you want, and then like use that affirmation, and it's just like another piece. Like as we talked about, there's so many pieces to help you to be in the law of attraction, and we do it subconsciously every single day. But when we talk about it, the example just kind of like comes in mind.
So for our listeners, I think that we didn't mention this in the episode, is that what would be the step 1, 2, 3 to apply the law of attraction?
My step 1, 2, 3?
Yes.
I think step 1 is just get more familiar with it. I think if this is your first time like knowing about it, like, okay, like go and absorb as much as you feel like you need. And second is just applying it, and like applying how is like, okay, be mindful of what comes in your thought and which thought you tune into. I think just that one simple step, like just be mindful of what thought comes into your mind and which thought you listen to. And you will see a pattern. You're like, oh my goodness, yeah, I'm hungry. Do you go grab the snack, or do you like just sit down and observe that thought and let it go? And you're like, oh shit, like, yeah, I'm not that thought. I'm the one who chooses whether I go get that snack or whether I like continue this work that you do. And that little awareness will allow you to plant and listen to more positive thoughts. And I think the third step is just like live in the elevated emotions. For me is a big one. Like figure out what you really truly desire, and then live as if that's already happened or is happening. Yeah, constantly be driven by love, by peace, by these higher vibrational emotions, so that your future would be constantly in that state. Even though it might not be there from external circumstances, if you start living like that internally, eventually, because of the law of correspondence, from within to without, that what's inside you would eventually, you're using that good energy in your work, in your conversations. So that eventually translate into your outer circumstances as well. And so I think that's my 1, 2, 3 step. Learn more. What's my second one?
Be mindful of your thoughts and
be mindful. That was the test, yeah. And mindful of your thoughts. And there's like live in the elevated emotions.
Yeah. So yeah, is there something else you wanted to ask?
I'm just happy that you're here.
Yeah.
And we have the conversation.
I'm just curious for Tom, because it's your first time, right? Like,
yeah.
Did this make sense? Like, how do you feel about it?
First time I heard about it, my thoughts on it, it's very interesting. I'm going to read more about it, but what strike me as the best are some of the mentalities that I could learn from our conversation on the law of attraction today. So we had this like analogy of the thoughts are the seed and everything, and like I realized that like there are some theories out there already that outline like a reverse pyramid, like some kind of like your thoughts influence your behaviors and your emotions, some kind of pyramid that's been out there and just brought it back to my memory. And I really like how we are the gardener of our own gardens. And I think that just goes along really well with like loving yourself. It's a lot to take in. I've been taking a lot of notes, in fact, while we were having a conversation.
Yeah. Juice points.
Yeah, man. To conclude everything, I think that the law of attraction truly affects, first of all, our mindset, and that we, using our minds and our actions and our emotions, we are able to unlock like unlimited potential. There are unlimited opportunities out there. We just need to ask, we'll need to think about it, then act on it, be positive, and it will manifest. I think that that's what I take away truly from the law of attraction.
Right.
It's not just being delusional and thinking that, hey, I'm gonna make $1 million, but it's just about taking actions, fueling myself with positive emotions. And I think the most important part of it is to be patient, you know. Since we're talking about planting a tree or something, you know, the fruit takes time to actually be something. So patience, which is something that I've been like training myself to be more patient. I'm very impatient with everything, even in restaurants and stuff, you know. It's like, can you be quick? But
Eddie, start saying, Eddie, it might be, let me just say, I am patient.
I am patient. I am
patient. Yeah. Because when I listen to your podcast, I say like, I'm very prideful. So again, right, it's an affirmation, like, I am humble.
I am humble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a little thing. Yeah, but yeah, keep going.
Absolutely makes sense, man.
I'm glad that we had a conversation about this, because my initial take on law of attraction was a little delusional. And I was pretty skeptical throughout the first 30 minutes about hearing this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for this episode, guys. Very happy to have Marco. Hopefully you enjoy the conversation. Just so you know, he does personal coaching. So if you're ever interested in get more into this spiritual, personal development, or all these topics that we talk about, Marco is the absolute expert for this. So check him out. We'll leave a link in the description. Divicati.com. That is Divicati, Divicati. What does that mean, by the way?
It's a combination of divine and being. So you're divine
being.
Nice.
So yeah, check him out. He's also on YouTube. Great videos. Check them out. Instagram, Facebook, Divicati. Marco Chak, guys.
Don't sleep on him. Check him out.
Yeah. So I just want to be clear. So thanks for the shout out. Can I talk about what the service actually is and who is it best for?
Yeah.
So I do personal growth coaching. So what that is to draw out the innate wisdom that's always within all of us already. Like when we ask really deep, profound question, it draws from the subconscious mind and it allows you to tap into the infinite source of energy and to just get like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that I had this in me to solve this problem. So if you're like dealing with a little bit like anxiety, you're trying to find your purpose, you want to find your passion, or you just have a goal that you really want to reach and you want to feel a little bit supported. Maybe you feel like, oh, I'm lost in my journey, or you want to have someone to be there to keep you accountable and things like that, right? Like check us out at the website and there's a sign up form. You can write in your problems and we have like a pretty good assessment sign up list. And if you are a good fit for us, we'll look at it thoroughly. And if we can feel like we can truly help you, then we'll jump into a free discovery coaching session where it's all about giving you a taste of coaching. And at the end, we'll come up with a good customizable package and go from there and see what fits your needs. And then we'll just go along with the coaching journey and get you the results and take you from where you are to where you want to be. And also, after you leave the coaching experience, you always have the tool to coach yourself. So it's like an investment of a lifetime that you can make. And for me, I have 2 coaches in my life and I still, I believe in this because I've experienced the benefits of it. So that's my little spiel.
A personal testimony. I've been working with Marco for a couple coaching sessions and it truly, as I said, I suffer from anxiety, stress, help a lot on that. And especially the part that he said about you will discover that little thing on you that you didn't know you have. Oh my God, that was that was a turning point, man. Truly, remember on the episode when I talked to you about I was able to find my positive motivator.
Oh yeah,
that truly makes my heart feels warm, and I'm still motivated to do the same goal. It was because of Marco. Like truly, thank you about it. Personal testimony right here. So
I'll sign up actually.
So yeah, that was it. Thank you for tuning in to us. This is the Seasons Podcast. Check us out on YouTube. Turn on the notifications. Subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook as the Seasons Podcast. And if you really like the content in here and you think some of your friends might like it, then don't hesitate to share it. We love that word of mouth marketing right there. Share with your friends, share with everybody. This podcast is about spreading love, knowledge, and positivity.
Yeah.
Attracting
Merry
those,
Christmas, right?
So yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry
We're gonna
Christmas.
probably post a bonus.
Yeah. We're probably going to have a tree somewhere edited in here somewhere.
Thank you for listening to us. Any other words, my friend Marco?
That is, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope from bottom of heart it has helped you, and from Eddie and the Season Podcast, and also Tom and Savan, thank you so much for inviting me. It's truly a pleasure. I had a good time recording this, and I'm sure I have a good time listening to this. It's just lots of smiles and stuff like that. So I wish, I'm super excited for a future podcast, and I just wish all the best for this project, yo.
Oh, yeah. Thank you,
That's
bro.
it, man.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Peace.
All right. Let me disconnect this.